What's up, everybody? Hey, another edition of Out of the Blind podcast. This is Gabe Spencer. Man, rocking and rolling, going through the heat of the summer again. It's hotter than hell here in Texas, gateway of hell. Place is drying up and about to blow away. But good news is I think we're, as I'm recording this, I think we're all 88 days, 87 days, something like that, to our favorite time of year where it's going to get cold. There's going to be ducks over our head, and we're going to be smacking them in the mouth. So I'm pretty excited. But first up, I've got a really great guest on the show. I'll introduce him here in a second. But first thing I want to thank is our title sponsor here at on this podcast is Back Down South Clothing. If you guys haven't checked out Back Down South Clothing yet, you are literally need to pull out a pistol, shoot yourself in the foot because you're missing the boat. This stuff is awesome. The guys that run this place, Michael Sims and all that, man, the one thing I like about it is they're always coming out with new stuff. They're always changing up the game as far as products. It's not something that, like, if you see something on there, you need to buy it because it's basically all limited edition. Michael Sims, he's scattered. He's a little scatterbrain, so he's always coming up with new stuff. He might have waders one day. He might have a cool hat the next day, and then you go, man, I need to get that hat. And you look and you're like, shit, it's gone. So check those guys out. You can check them out they're everywhere. Any type of social media, World Wide Web. Back Down South Clothing. If you once you fill your cart with about $2,000-$3,000 worth of stuff, you can enter Out of the Blind 15 in the checkout, and that'll give you 15% off of that Mondo order. So check that out. So, but without further ado, I've got Caleb Knight on this podcast. Say hi, Caleb. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Good to finally be doing this.
I know, man. We've had I've been running my head cut off. Like I told you when we kind of got on here in the precursor of this, it's been herding cats, man. Here at my roofing business and in the media business, it's been a little bit crazy, but things are going good. So I finally got him on here. I met Caleb. How long has it been? We were talking like it's pre-COVID, right?
Yeah. It would have been duck season in 19, probably. Fall in 19.
Yeah, that was up there around central Oklahoma. I don't like to tell people where we hunt, but
for sure.
Kind of central-ish, maybe Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've been tell these guys a little bit about what you do. If you guys haven't heard of Caleb Knight before, you need to look this guy up. It's kind of a big deal. I'd say he's a big deal. Tell us what you do, man.
Yeah, no, I'm from small town Oklahoma. Grew up at a little high school playing every sport. Was lucky enough to get the opportunity to go to a junior college, play baseball, went to Connor State. Played baseball there. That's probably when I first realized, that I might have a future in this, and got an opportunity to do some cool things. So went on from Connor State, got to go play at the University of Virginia, played 2 years there, and then was lucky enough to get the opportunity to sign with the Chicago Cubs. So I signed with the Cubs in the summer of 2018, and heck, I guess I'm on my 5th season now of playing in the minor leagues with the Cubs.
Dude.
Yeah. I'm a catcher, first base, kind of play wherever they need me, but man, I've been all around. I've been AAA, AA, high A, played a little bit around every level, and scratching away, waiting on that opportunity to hopefully make it to the big leagues. So
I bet you'll do it.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
I think you'll do it, dude. Yeah, being in the duck blind, I run across because I travel so much chasing ducks, like some kind of duck hunting hobo. And, I dive in with with one group of guys over here. I'll meet some guys at a gas station sometime, and I jump in with that group or somebody jumps in a group with me. And so it's one of those things like if somebody's pretty cool, I don't mind jumping in the duck blind. But one thing that I've noticed is like, I run across really cool people like yourself that I don't realize like what you guys do, like professional baseball player. I've had a guy show up that played for the New York Giants one time. Like this huge black dude gets out of this like $150,000 Raptor, pulls up in a goose hunting field. He was so big he wouldn't even hardly fit. He was like a defensive lineman for them, and he wouldn't even hardly fit in the damn layout blinds. But like I meet all kinds of cool people, and it's really, really cool, man. But so what do you think? Have you been following maybe what the duck season is going to be like this year?
Man, I have been a little bit. It hits me. I mean, we always say, during baseball season, because we go from March to September. This month of August is always the worst, man. And it's the month of August when duck hunting stuff really starts popping up on
Yeah,
social
dude.
media a lot more, and boy, it starts hitting pretty hard. But man, yeah, I've been following it. I mean, I've seen a few different things. Some people saying we're gonna have a harsh winter. Some people saying it's gonna be pretty normal. I don't know. I know around home right now the water levels are a little down, so we're a little worried about that. Need some rain, but
Yeah,
not really
dude.
sure. Nothing.
I've had really great success in some of my past duck hunting seasons when the water was super low. It was hard to get to places, and you had to walk through that slop mud and like sinking up to your crotch and all that.
Yeah,
It's super hardcore for guys that don't do it every day.
yeah, 100%.
And and so, but no, man, I've had really great luck. And so I'd rather it be either be extremely low or extremely high. I
That's
don't like it to be normal.
yeah,
If it's normal levels, it's not good.
yeah,
So if it's going to be a drought, go ahead and dry this sucker up and let me give me some potholes out in the middle of these places that you got to kind of get out to get them. But really, man, I really think it's just that cold driving force that is what's gonna, always seems to push them down because they're never here till like January. So
yeah, 100%. I'm with you on
yeah, dude, it's
the low water too. I mean, I've noticed that if we have, especially around where I live, if we have a lot of water, it's like those ducks never tend to really just group up in a certain area. They just kind of just stay spread out everywhere. But boy, if you can get some low water to where there's not a lot of different spots for them to go to, boy, that's when you can really find those wads of
oh no,
ducks
you guys
grouped up.
smash on them though.
We try. And I mean, now that you got me thinking about it, I think the best year I can remember was when we had really low water,
Yeah,
man. We just found a couple potholes, and I mean,
yeah, it doesn't take much.
yeah, those ducks,
They don't have as many places to land.
yeah, they stayed
And
right
then
there
if
in
it's
there.
all cold up north, then they don't have anywhere to go. So they're hitting these little dried up potholes, and how many are there? All of them.
Yeah,
So,
exactly,
and then if you
exactly.
can find those little clusters, you can put a freaking womp on them.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude. One thing I noticed different about you is don't you hunt with a golden retriever?
yeah. So that was a COVID experience for me. So I have a lab. I got a lab when I was sophomore in high school. Trained her myself, did everything with her, and I mean she has been the best dog I could ever imagine. I mean, that dog would die going to get a duck. But so during COVID, my lab is 10 now, and man, her hips are getting bad. If she goes
Yeah.
on a tough hunt, she can't walk for 2 days. So I'd been planning on getting a new one, but with baseball season, I'm home October, November, December, January, and then I'm locked up. So I didn't want to get a new dog and only be able to be with it for 4 months and then be gone for the whole season. So
Yeah.
as soon as COVID hit, I was like, all right, when they sent us home from spring training, I was like, this is the time if I'm going to do it. Man, I hit up every lab breeder kennel within 500 miles, and I could not find anything. Nothing available. Everything's booked up. So I just started looking, searching, looking at some other breeds. I looked at Chesapeakes, started looking at some of the Goldens, and I got to look at the Goldens, and I was like, it's almost like any of the retrievers kind of been bred out of them. So I
Yeah.
found there was a couple in Norman, Oklahoma that had a one puppy left. And so I it was on Facebook, shot him a message like, hey, is there any chance there's any kind of hunting blood in this pedigree? And the girl messaged me back. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, the dad's out of this big hunt ranch in Stillwater and all this. I think it was called Rock Aaron Kennels. And I looked it up, and man, they had some badass
Really?
dogs out of that kennel. And I mean, the pedigree looked great. So I was like, all right. She's like, $500. I was like, I'll be right there. And went up next day and got it. And boy, she's as smart as they come. The drive, which she's only 2, but the drive isn't quite where I'd like it to be. But I think as she grows up, because she's almost too smart for her own good. She's real careful,
Right.
doesn't want to make a mistake. But
Yeah.
I mean, she's good to take. She minds perfectly, and
That's awesome.
I think the
You just
drive
don't
will pick
see
up.
you don't see many. You don't see many guys hunting them. I think they're kind of underrated.
Yeah, yeah,
I
no.
think they're kind of underrated.
It's like I
As long
said,
as you don't find cockleburs, you're good.
yeah. Oh, I ran into him a couple
You're gonna
times.
have to shave it. You have a shaved gold retriever. I would shave it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool. I give it like a mullet.
yeah. Just leave the hair
Uh,
on the tail or something.
yeah, just kind of like
Yeah,
just long on the top.
yeah,
It would
yeah.
just kind of
Give
just
her
like a golden retriever mullet. I think that would be cool.
look
I
like
think people would be like, that's a badass haircut.
make her look like a wood duck running around.
Yeah, I think that'd be freaking badass, man.
Yeah, that
So
would be sick.
yeah, that's cool. So I kind of, in these podcasts, I always talk a little bit about duck hunting. Most of the time I talk about some BS, and that's really kind of what I look for, And so, my question to you is, not many people get to experience like what you get to experience playing ball, right? Getting paid to like every little kid's dream, to get paid to play baseball. But that's the cool part. Like I've been to a lot of, professional games and things like that, but the behind the scenes stuff and the travel stuff is probably, how is that? Like, what is that like?
Man, pre-COVID times, it was insane. I mean, I'm talking. So my first 2 years, I was in Eugene, Oregon, and man, we would play 3 or 5 game series. It's just depended, and never have an off day. So we would be in Eugene home for 3 games. We'd play 3 games. We'd play a 7 o'clock game on a Thursday night, finish up around 10. We'd get out of there at midnight. We'd drive 10 hours overnight on a bus to Vancouver, have to stop at the border halfway through, get all off, let them search everything, go through customs, get back on. We'd end up showing up to the hotel about 10 a.m. We'd get to the hotel. Our rooms wouldn't be ready because nobody can check into a hotel at 10 a.m. So we'd all just be lounging out in the lobby. I mean, you walk in, there's 50 minor league baseball players laying in the lobby. Then we go to the field 1 o'clock, go through our day and play a game at 7 that night. And then we'd be there for 3 days and it's on to somewhere else. Same thing again. So, man, that was crazy times. Kind of, during the time it was like, this sucks. But, I mean, looking back on it, man, so many memories just grinding through those nights and sleeping on the floor of the bus. And it
Any
was
crazy like fans? Like, what's the craziest thing you've seen happen at a stadium?
Oh, man.
Because you played a lot of games. There has
Yeah.
to be something you're like, did you see that crap?
Oh, I can't even. Okay. We were in Vancouver, Canada, by far the craziest fans, just all around. Nothing.
And another thing, Caleb, you don't have to filter anything.
Okay.
Like, it can be whatever.
There was just crazy ass stuff everywhere in Vancouver. I mean, these guys it was 12,000 drunk Canadians that had no idea what was going on, acting like they're at a hockey game. So, I mean, you're walking out on deck and just F this, F that, you effing suck, just letting it eat at you. As far as just crazy people, that was definitely the craziest. But we were in Dayton, Ohio, probably about a month ago, and they had some kind of promotional company there doing these things, and they had a different, like, inflatable mascot costume for every situation. Like, they had this one that was called, like, Mike Rainbow Trout. That was like Mike Trout, kind of like half Rainbow Trout. And they like run out there and they have this guy come out as a fake umpire. And this thing, somehow this inflatable costume ate the umpire. I'm not kidding you. Took the umpire in its mouth and then spits him out in his underwear. And the umpire is running around. That was just minor league baseball at its finest.
So it's different from like the major leagues, I guess, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Like a lot different as far, because I've never been to a minor league game, but like it's a little different.
Yeah, it's the same in a lot of aspects, but I mean, there's just so many different places, and every place has their own little style of promotional stuff. I mean, because a lot of times that's how they're trying to draw people out, is by the between the innings acts and all that stuff. And I mean, when I was in Eugene, they had this guy in some D2 national champion track runner would get in a track outfit or in a Bigfoot costume, and they would start them both on the right field foul line. They would let some random fan get like a 50-yard head start, and then this guy would just track them down. I mean, it was unbelievable watching these drunk people running in the outfield, thinking they're about to win $100 or something, and this guy would just suck them in. It was just
Really.
I mean, there was one ex-Marine that beat him one time, and in 2 years, there was the only time I ever saw the guy lose.
Dang.
But yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything too crazy. I know there's.
So you're up in Chicago most of the time. Is that where you stay in most of the time?
So I'm in South Bend, Indiana right now, which we're about 2 hours out of Chicago, or an hour and a half.
What's that like?
It's nice. This is where Notre Dame's at. It's a nice little
town.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. Great. I mean, the stadium here is absolutely phenomenal. Great facility. I mean, everything's as nice as it gets. We probably get 5,000-6,000 fans a night, so good atmosphere to play in. But yeah, it's good.
So it's not like you're in the middle of like downtown Chicago, like where there's peaceful protesters and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, no, we haven't been to anywhere like that. I think we went. I think it was in Dayton. Dayton, they had some stuff going on. There was some protesting and stuff. I don't really remember what for, but
I'm glad some of that's kind of over, man. Like that was getting ridiculous. Like I took my daughter shopping for some school clothes or something, and I think we went to I don't know, some clothing store. Anyway, me being me, I'm going in there and one of these things like I don't match, right? I'm not supposed to be in this kind of store, but it just looked like the whole place has kind of been ran through. And so I like said like out loud, I'm like, damn, looks like a bunch of peaceful protesters been in here, like raping and pillaging this place. But and these people, like, luckily I'm in Texas, and so they all thought it was funny. But I was like, man, I shouldn't say that shit out loud. But yeah, man. So but I've traveled to Chicago a few times and been up there a little bit, and I always thought it was cool, but I wasn't up there when anything crazy was happening. But have you hunted up there? Have you hunted up that direction?
no, I haven't. I haven't been able to hunt anywhere. No, because we're usually our season will wrap up. We're supposed to wrap up around September 12th, so I'll make it home just in time for about teal season. But no, I haven't even. I don't even really
Yeah.
mess with bringing my gun or anything. I've had a lot of people reach out and offer, especially in the
Yeah.
spring, like spring turkey hunting. I've never even gotten to go turkey hunting just because it's always during
Dude, you
baseball
got to do
season.
that.
I keep hearing and I want to, but
Dude,
always
it's
during baseball.
like I'm a die-hard duck hunter. Like I love it. But when it comes to like, and I haven't even killed a lot of turkeys, but I love it. Like it's fun. It's like, it's because I think you just kind of come off of duck hunting and you're like still your trigger fingers ready to go and you want to go hunt some kind of bird and you want to call something and all of a sudden there's turkeys and you're like, okay, I can do this. But it's different. It's a lot of fun, man. It's like up in your face. I wish you could shoot 15 or 20 of them, but you can most of the time you only shoot one or two.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. I've heard it's a good
but
time.
man, it's badass. Yeah. And where you're from, there's a bunch of turkeys there.
Oh yeah, I have
I've had,
a ton of turkeys on my land where we live at home.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, dude. Um, but no, man, with duck season being around the corner, I'm ready to get out there. I'm always about gadgets and getting new stuff. So I've been getting like my Amazon crap in the mail, and I'm like, I was putting my duck hunting bag together yesterday. I got a new Yeti bag. I got that tan Panga 28, so I got that in, and so I'm already putting crap in it. I'm like, they're like, dude, it's a long way. Like it doesn't start till November. I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna be here. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
It's
I'm
when it comes.
already like, I'm getting it. I'm getting into it. So I got a few things I got to do to the truck, and so I can basically clean it. I haven't cleaned it since duck season, and there's like, it looks like it looks like the Jack Shack in there. It's not
Oh,
good. It's really bad. It's like smells like, oh, it's not good. So I think there's still like, I think my shotgun's still in there. So
wow.
I haven't done anything. So like off season wise, like when you guys are playing, I mean, you're probably constantly playing ball when it's not duck season. Like if it's like you're constantly on the road, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell my teammates all the time. I play very few guys who duck hunt or anything, and that's what I always tell them. Like, man, it's something you need to get into because it's perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
from so let's say we'll finish up in September. I'll come home. I'll be home October, November, December, January. Usually head back the middle of February ish sometimes. So yeah, I mean, when I come home, it's all duck season, and then when we leave from usually like March 4th to middle of September, I mean, it is baseball every single day. There's really
Yeah.
no breaks, nothing at all. So
So
it's good.
you don't have time to go fishing or anything. Like it's
Not really.
no.
With the new schedule, we were talking about the travel. With the new schedule, so since COVID, they wanted to try to eliminate travel as much as they could. So now we play a 6 game series. So we play Tuesday through Sunday, and we have every Monday off. So Mondays there's usually a little opportunity to go do something, go fishing. But heck, most of the time you're too worn out and tired, want to kind of just enjoy the off day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I bet. Like other stuff that you hunt, is it just ducks, or do you chase anything else, like elk or anything like that, or do you
so I
deer or anything like that?
we chase deer. I got a buddy who's actually got stuff up at where I live in Oklahoma. We have about 100 acres behind my house, and we got tons of whitetail on it. So I have one of my good buddies of mine. He's putting out feeders and everything, and got them out and got cameras out. So yeah, we'll go mess around, chase some deer. We
Yeah.
heck shot two last year. Didn't find either of them. My buddy shot two. Didn't find either one of them. I got to go help track, but no, I killed a couple deer in high school, and I mean I just usually don't mess with it too much, but starting to
I,
get
you
into
know,
it a little more.
yeah, I'm not much of a deer hunter. I do it. I'm more of just a meat hunter. We've got a lease over in kind of southwest Texas. It's got a bunch of axes and stuff, so I go bust those down. But like for the most part, I don't really mess with whitetail much. But I got a buddy, Brandon Harper up there in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
No, I don't know that name.
He goes by B Harper _5, I think is what his Instagram. You need to follow him.
Okay.
Really super great, talented guy, like hellacious photographer. He's one of the guys that got me into doing photography and really helped me along a lot of the way. But I hunt with him quite a bit. But one thing that kind of cracks me up is he's also a big time deer hunter. At least he calls himself a big time deer hunter, right? And so he does some photography for some. I think there's a bow shop, and he does some photography for a feeder company, and I think a side by side, something like that. Anyway, so we're out last year, and he's been chasing this monster buck up there around Bartlesville, Oklahoma. It's a freaking giant, right? And he shows me pictures, all these pictures of it, and he's had it like in bow range, but it was on the other side of a tree, or I can't explain it very well because I'm not a deer hunter, right? Yeah. So for the deer hunters out there, I probably sound like an idiot, but that's cool because that's what I sound like most of the time. But and so Harper, he's showing me all these pictures, like, look at this deer, like it's a giant, and it's definitely a monster. And so he goes out and he's like, stop duck hunting. It might have been in the split, I don't remember. He'll correct me, but he had stopped hunting it. Like one day he stopped because the weather was bad, and I think I clearly remember ribbing him because, like, dude, you seriously, like, you're a duck hunter. Why are you not hunting this deer? Well, it's cold, blah, blah. And then I meet up with him maybe as a dinner, or maybe it was in the duck blind. I don't remember. But he, like, all of a sudden, like, freaks out, like, gets insane mad because his neighbor shot that deer that day. And it's like right on the other side. So it was a sensitive subject at the time. And so I thought all this had passed, I thought, oh, we could talk about it again. Well, he was putting up on Instagram, he was putting up all of his feeders and stuff this year. And he's like getting ready, hey, I got this set up. And I kind of have to rib him again. Like, make sure you set it up and make sure your neighbor doesn't kill your deer again this year. But it's like, that's frustrating because you're just chasing one animal, right? And especially a giant like that, because everybody else is chasing them. And, but it's hilarious to watch him. Like, I'm sorry, Brandon, but when you're listening to this, it was hilarious to watch you melt down. So it was great because he would definitely rub it into me. I promise you. And that's one cool thing, too. Like, I know the group of guys that you hunt with are all super cool, and we all have like our groups that we hunt in. And that's, if anybody's out there listening to this and you haven't really checked out duck hunting, that's one of the cool things I like about it, because I don't have to be quiet. I don't have to worry about if the ducks aren't going to smell me, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, but you guys hunt pretty hard. Like, you guys will go, you hunt like I do. That's one reason I like to hunt with, I like to hunt with you guys, because you guys will freaking go out and like get them. That's
one thing. My like with my group. I mean, I'm the only one out of my group. Everybody else, has to work and stuff. But hey, that's like, I'm down every day. I'm down to go every day. And most of them can only go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe an occasional weekday. But I'm like, hey, whenever somebody hits me up, somebody wants to go, I mean, I'm out there. Bought my own boat last year, so boy, that was the best thing I've ever done, by the way. But yeah, man, it's anybody calls, anybody wants to go, I will go get at them anytime. And then that's what,
dude.
Even talking about that group, and that's kind of our motto last year, because it was, I mean, we ended up having a pretty good year, but man, it was slow at some times. And that was our motto, was all about the fellowship. That's what we'd say, all about the fellowship, and that's something you don't get in deer hunting. When you got four or five guys you go out there with, even if you shoot 5-10 ducks, you still have a great time and make memories, even when it's slow. So that's one thing I really enjoy, especially coming from baseball. Being in a clubhouse with 35 guys all year, then I go into the off season. That's what I really miss a lot about it. Just the camaraderie and being around the guys, and that's something that duck season can really kind of fill that void.
That's what I love. I love it. I mean, I think the trigger, like I say all the time, the trigger pull is probably my least favorite part.
Yeah.
Even though, trust me, I love it, but that's like, I like to go on a road trip. It gives me an excuse to drive all around the countryside. I normally travel around 8 to 10,000 miles every season. And, just going meeting with my buddies, getting in the duck blind and just, trying to, I got to teach myself to not be so damn competitive and like, I'm like, screw that. Like these guys want, I try to chill out and it's pretty tough. But so in order to do that, I've kind of like pushed myself further off the grid every time. I try to go farther and more off and try to find something that's really small that someone's not going to probably want to go to, even if they were in there. And you guys kind of do the same thing, but yeah, what you're saying is that camaraderie, man, that's really what makes it fun. Sometimes you don't shoot anything and you come out with a 0 and it's still a good time. So, that's what I love about it. And, I'm pretty fortunate like you to get to hunt with a group of really cool people and also get to introduce some new people into what we do. I got a couple new guys into it last year that never been, and they had like their grandpa's like shotgun, and I was on a freaking Mondo wad of mallards and they'd never seen it before. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know. I mean, I remember my very first duck hunt and on the Platte River in Nebraska. And it was like that for them where, you hear them over your head and it's like not even, it's still dark and you hear them freaking zinging and you're like, oh, it's about to go down. They're like, what's about to go down? Like, just get ready. Like it's getting ready to be a show. Right. And they don't know what's going on. And next thing they know, like our first wad was like 35 mallards in our face, like feet down. Like, I think Rob shot a couple of them out of that first group, but he was like, after that, he was hooked. He's like, now all he wants to do is go duck hunting. He's like, now I'm like, yeah, welcome to meth. There you go. It's awesome. Meth is cheaper. Yeah. So, and that's what's cool, dude. It's just, even my camera guy, David, he got to go with me last year and he got to go. He didn't get to hunt last year, but this year he's going to get in and pick up the gun this year and try to knock at him a little bit. But, even, he got to take his first shit in the woods. I got to witness that. That's a big awesome. Deal. Like, like he's never got shit in the woods before. That's a cool thing. Like, not like I watched him do it, but I was peeking. I might have peeked a little bit. Like, good job. Like high five wise, So you got to teach somebody how to crap in waders. That's tough.
Yeah.
These are things I could do whole YouTube videos about on how to crap in waders. That would probably go out because it's difficult.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So dude.
I had this guy on my team I played with, and this guy's from Monroe, Louisiana. I mean, always talked up a big game duck hunting. Played at LSU. So I think it might have been that same year I met you. He hits me up. He's like, hey, man, I'm about to drive up. Let's go hunting a few days. I'm like, hey, come on. He's like, I got a buddy with me. He's like, we're gonna make the drive. I was like, all right, come on. He shows up on like a Thursday evening. So Josh Gentry, Josh. Text me that.
Oh, yeah,
night.
I know Josh real well. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh goes, I found him. I'm like, all right. I'm like, how bad is it? He said, there ain't nobody been in this area since the Indians rolled through. I'm like, all right. So I was gonna kind of break my buddy in nice, easy, kind of see where he is at. But I was like, hey, he talks a big game, So he shows up. We get ready Friday morning, getting ready to go. He's got on some neoprene waist waders and like a quarter zip pullover and like a thermal underneath it. And I'm telling you, it's 20 degrees, freezing rain. It's a good morning to go hunting. I'm like, hey, buddy, you need to put on this jacket. I got an extra jacket. Nah, man, I ain't wearing that. All right. When I tell you, we went on an hour and a half boat ride up a 15-foot wide creek, having to get off and push over 100-foot long sandbars. I mean, it took us 3 hours to get to this hole.
That's what I'm talking about.
We get close. We walk probably 1,000 yards through waist deep flooded timber, muddy, going through stretches where the mud's up to your crotch. And my buddy's over here in waist waders. I mean, the water is just almost breaking over the top of them. We get out there and we couldn't even find a good hole. And we just kind of get set up. And when I tell you there's just mallards, I mean, dumping in everywhere. So that buddy didn't even have pockets to put shells in. So he's got his box of shells over here in a tree.
Oh, no.
He's shooting three, running over there, trying to grab more out of the box, shooting three. Well, I'm sitting there, I'm grabbing ducks from the dog. I mean, we probably shot in the first 5 minutes of shooting, like we probably shot 10 or 15, and they're still just dumping on us. And I see my buddy out of the corner of my eye kind of make a move real quick, one of my other buddies, and I look over, and the guy I play baseball with is over there, nose deep in the water, with both hands over his head, just holding his gun up. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "This is my fiance's dad's gun. I can't get it wet." We go over there and we pull him up out of the water. I'm like, "All right, listen, we need to leave right now." He's like, "No, I didn't come all this way to come out here and leave. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. We're staying. We're staying."
Hell
We
yeah.
stayed. We ended up shooting 2025, and it was about an hour later. And I look at him, and I mean, he is struggling. He's like, Can we leave?" And shivering. So we go. The freaking boat has about 6 inches of water in it because of how many times we had to get in and out and push. And this boat didn't have a bilge pump. So he goes and
Nice.
I mean, we're trotting maybe 10 miles an hour trying to get out of here. He's laying in the fetal position in the bottom of this boat. I mean, just shivering. I was scared. I didn't know if he was going to make it. We finally get to the boat ramp. He strips down butt naked, goes and gets in the driver or passenger seat of my truck, and it's just, I mean, right in front of that heater. It was a wonder he made it out of there, but dang, he was definitely he took that jacket the next morning, and that was one heck of a public land experience for him. He,
Dude, that's the thing, man. Like that's what it's. But that's what I like. I like that.
oh
Like
yeah,
sometimes I don't like it at the moment, but I love those kind of hunts. Like
yeah,
when you're going in that far and that deep and that crazy, and you're having to work that hard, it's taking you 3 or 4 hours to get to the hole by water.
yeah,
Like there we go.
yeah,
It better be good.
yeah.
One of the very first hunts I went on with Dennis Luzier, Dr. Duck. Him and I are pretty good buddies, and I found a big wad of ducks, kind of like an area like that. It was in Texas, and I had to go up this creek for a long ways, and we had to winch over 2 log jams and like go way up this creek, and it was kind of the same type of deal. And it was him and Billy, and this was like the first time I ever met him. I mean, I met him up in Oklahoma, and Dennis lives just 10 minutes from me, and so I called him like, dude, I've got I've got a Mondo wad. I had at least 1,000 birds and some flooded timber. And so I get them up there, and, we go through the whole freaking shit show to get up into this area. And we get in there, and, the temperature had dropped to in the like high teens, and the hole had frozen over. And I was like, dang, because me and Dennis, we scouted it, and there were so many birds in there, and it should have been a banger really quick. And so I started busting ice with my ass. Like I was like trying to bust the ice out of the hole. Well, I hit a freaking log under there and instantly go under. Like I wasn't there 10 minutes. It's like 4 a.m, and I instantly, waders are full. And I'm like, shit. Like, and I was like, I'll be cool. Like I'm good. I'm solid. And then I got to shivering, and then I couldn't stop shivering. I'm like, dude, this isn't good. So these guys, so Dennis and Billy freaking we're on this little piece of dry ground in this flooded timber, and they built the probably 2/3 of it is fire, and we just built this huge fire, and I'm standing there in my underwear with my shit drying out, and then we didn't kill a bird. We zeroed, 100% zeroed. The birds came in and they saw us frozen and then left,
Yeah.
and so we drove back and winched back with a big fat goose egg, but I still got a badass story. I almost froze my nuts off, literally. But yeah, it's just that grind. It's that freaking. It's just that's what it's about, and
No doubt.
that's one reason I don't really I can't say that I don't hunt private stuff and go on some gentleman hunts, because I do here and there, but it's just not as fulfilling when I go in and I bust a 5-man of greenheads on private. I have a blind versus busting a 1-man limit of greenheads on public, and then you're like, okay, cool, this is badass, and you get to go to the boat ramp and kind of show off a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's kind of good.
That's what I always tell myself too. I'm like, hey, while I'm young and I'm able, I'll hunt public land as long as I can. Just like you said, there's just that challenge, and it is so much more fulfilling knowing that anybody else in the world could have went and found these same ducks, that I found, and that's the challenge of it. And boy, I sure like that. And I guess whenever I get up 60s, 70s, can start hunting the more gentleman's hunts. But
I I'm not. I'm not close, but I'm not far away from it. So I have to start looking at that option. But so far, so good. I'm good.
That's
and,
right.
And I'm still ready to, but I'm still sad duck season's over,
Yeah.
and, I'm not wore out. My wife is pissed off by then because I'm not home and I look like I've been living under a bridge, but yeah. So yeah, Josh Gentry up there, he's right in the heart of that dude's a crappie fishing fool.
Oh, yeah.
I see him with freaking giant freaking strings of crappie all the time. And, yeah, I don't remember how, I guess I ran into him on Instagram is how I kind of got in touch with him. And, I still talk to him quite a bit, and,
Yeah.
And he's definitely a big asset up there, to me in that part of the world in Oklahoma. And, I need to get on some more hunts with you guys for sure.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like you, I can pretty much hunt whenever I want, during that time of year. So, and there's a lot of times I hunt by myself. So,
yeah.
Cause like a lot of people can't hunt during the week. So I'm always out there either scouting or hunt by myself or something like that.
For sure.
So yeah, we definitely need to hook up and
yeah.
get on some hunts this year for sure.
We'll make it
for
happen.
sure, man.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on this podcast. Sorry for being a little bit behind and being a little bit late to it, but everything's good. And I definitely wish you guys the best of luck with the rest of your season. And how much more season you have? You said till September?
Yeah, so our last game is September 12th, I believe. And we're currently tied for first place. So if we finish first, we'll make the playoffs, which is just about an extra 10 days. So we're pushing for that. If we make it, we'll be there a little bit longer. But if not, we'll be done about then. So wrapping it up. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, I really appreciate you jumping on here, Caleb. If you ever need anything, always reach out to me, but I'll be definitely reaching out to you, come November, and we'll be jumping down some hunts, man. So
we'll be
I really appreciate it. Yeah, you bet, man. Well, again, my name's Gabe Spencer. This is Out of the Blind podcast, and make sure to check us out, guys. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We're all on all of that stuff. You can see the live versions, the actual video versions of these on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Check that out. Again, Back Down South Clothing. I want to give those guys a huge shout out. Out of the Blind 15 on checkout. That'll get you guys a discount. Again, appreciate you guys for listening to this. My name's Gabe Spencer, and I will see you guys on the next one. See y'all.